Welcome. This is Bill Haney here, and I've got a couple of really special guests today, and we're going to have a conversation. My guests today are Katherine, but you can call me Kate, Kehrer, and Aiden Callahan, and we'll hear more about them in a minute. But first, as kind of a backdrop, so you know what we're going to be talking about, these are winners. These two fine young people are winners of the Wally Service Project Scholarship. And they wrote really inspiring essays about a couple of projects that they created. And the projects were based on service that they could do in their communities. The competition for this really spread throughout North Oakland County and involved a number of high schools, of which Lake Orion was one, and Clarkston and a number of others. And it was inaugurated 3 years ago by Larry Kodowski, who continues to oversee it. It commemorates the life of Wally Service. And Wally used to joke when people would say, "How do you pronounce your name?" And he'd say, "Well, I have trouble with it myself sometimes." But Wally was a very special guy. We'll hear more about Wally in a bit. But the scholarship and the awarding of these scholarships every year, this is the third year. It's a collaboration between Wally's friends and his family and the Clarkston Family Farm. This year, the scholarship opportunity was available to high school juniors and seniors in 7 area school districts who are planning to attend college or to a vocational school after graduation. And the applicants were asked to design and describe a service project that would benefit their entire home community, or a portion of that community, or even the community's environment. The student submissions were evaluated based on the project's feasibility, its originality, its likely impact, and the clarity of how well it was presented, the idea was. And so these two fine young folks are going to be going to college in the fall, right? And Kate Kehrer has written a fine essay, and we're going to hear more about that in a bit. But when did you hear about the scholarship?
I think I heard about it, it was a couple months back from time of filming. But we have this page where I was learning all about different local scholarships, and it's just an amazing way to see so many different parts of impact in the community. And I saw one, and it said it was related to the Clarkson Family Farm. And I had volunteered once for a butterfly festival there, and I absolutely loved the pace. The community is so strong there. So when I saw that there was one related to that, and I saw that I had a service project I've been working on, they're related, I knew it was a great opportunity for me to apply.
Everything came together. Mm-hmm. Aiden, how about you?
Me? Well, I heard about it through Lake Orion High School website. Mm-hmm. And I was looking for scholarships, and I was actually my first hour science class, and I saw it, and it really just drew me in because I was currently working on a service project, and I saw the scholarship not just as an opportunity to apply, but also to spread the word about what I was doing.
Ah, excellent. Well, let's talk more about the individual after whom the scholarship is named and what his legacy was. That was Wally Service. And Wally did many, many things, as I think I told you about earlier and detailed in a book that we did a number of years ago. Raised funds for a charity called Reading Works to help teach people who somehow had gotten through high school without learning how to read. And the proceeds went to that. And this was a group of men and women, both at the Brioni's Cafe, wonderful place in downtown, or near downtown, Clarkston. We would meet there every Monday morning. And the idea eventually, which was a natural one, came about to, well, perhaps we could do something for the community like you folks have done. And I thought that their stories, each of them, were fascinating. We had a prominent lawyer named Jerry McNally. We had Mel Vara, who was the assistant superintendent for many years at Clarkston Schools, and many other people who had been quite active in the community. And as I mentioned, Wally was an intriguing character, and so each wrote a chapter in this book, and the proceeds went to Reading Works. And Wally had a great number, as you will see, because we made sure that you guys would each get a copy of this book and read more about Wally's interesting history. He had a lot of unusual occupations before he ever settled on a few acres east of Clarkston. And there for 16 years, he and his wife Delia grew and shared organic vegetables and raised free-range chickens with marvelous eggs. And you would have loved them. You're an egg man every morning, Aiden. These were really terrific, and that's how I got to know them, was stopping there and buying their vegetables and eggs and becoming friends with Wally, and then getting in with the group at Brioni's Cafe who did this book. So these things all kind of ripple out. And Wally, at his farm, not only did he grow marvelous heirloom vegetables, but he mentored young people and older people about growing things. And he made vital contributions to many of the area organizations and causes, one of which you mentioned was Clarkston Family Farms. And he helped establish and grow the Backyard Birders Club, Clarkston Area Backyards Birders Club, which started with 18 original members 8 years ago. And now it has more than 250. And that's unusual, in that kind of a field, that kind of growth. And it's had its consequences too. And it's just a wonderful place for people to gather the last Wednesday of every month and hear experts, or in some cases they're local citizens who might be knowledgeable about butterflies or bats or birds. And all that came out of Wally's initiatives. And I think many of the things that he did, the spirit that he injected in the organizations he's been involved in, and that's going to be harvested for years to come. He enriched lives the same way he enriched the soil from which those vegetables sprung. And we will never really know about that, the consequences. You know, you do things, you try to help other people. Sometimes you know whether you were of any use or not. Sometimes you never hear about it. You might hear years later that something that you did had an impact. And that's what you guys are doing. You're in a way planting the seed with people. And I recently, when you were awarded your scholarships and it was announced at Clarkston Family Farms, you inspired a lot of people, certainly me, and it gives hope. The same as Wally did, it was a fundamental theme for him, living in harmony with others and the natural world. So why don't we talk further about, that's the backdrop against which this essay was created by Larry Kudowski. That in itself was an original idea. It wasn't like everybody had that idea and Larry's came to the top. I mean, it would not have happened if he hadn't created this program. And so I've got a couple of questions. I was curious. And I wondered whether, Aiden, you had come up with the service project just for the essay program, or was this something you had been working on? And tell us about the project and how it was going to work.
All right, so the idea for the project, I actually came up with it in a group in an organization called the Youth Advisory Council. And it is actually the youth segment of the Lake Orion City Council. And the idea originated back in 2023. And the plan was going to be that we were going to attend a festival called Summer Sizzle. And we would be promoting local charities from the Lake Orion, Clarkston, and Oxford area. And initially, it was very grand. We wanted to advertise on billboards, bring a bunch of food trucks, but then we narrowed it down. And the idea I presented was a very lean version of the initial idea. So under the new version, we would invite only a few specific charities to advertise their services to Lake Orion community.
Well, and that met one of the criteria, Larry's criteria for the essays. Really, in a way, the practicality of it. It'd be one thing to come up with a grandiose plan that you're going to eliminate war and poverty. Well, that's nice. Wouldn't we all like to do that? Mm-hmm. But how feasible is it, And so that made a lot of sense. What about you, Kate?
Yeah, I had been working on my project for a while before I saw the scholarship opportunity. It's one of those ideas that came to me when I was just looking around. I found I knew a lot of teachers who would give out stickers for things, and I saw some mental health stickers that I really connected to, and saw that how much of a difference just having one sticker on my water bottle can make. Because I had people who would inquire. I'm a big choir girl, and we always carry around our water bottles. So it'd always be something that someone bring up to me hey, I like your sticker. And that's kind of where the idea started. I realized just how impactful something as small as a sticker could be. So that's when I started handing out stickers. I bought a few at first, but as a student saving up for college, I couldn't buy the whole world. So I bought a few to start giving out to my friends, all sorts of ones with breathing textures and different inspirational sayings. And that's kind of where the idea started. But then I got an Acorn to Oak grant, which I'm so grateful for. It's with the county, and Leadership Oakland kind of connected me to it. And it's just this great grant that gives kids money to do either a service project, to do sports, to do things like that. So I got a $500 grant, and recently I was awarded an extra $1,000 to be able to purchase stickers. And each of my stickers, I think the most important thing is not only to act as a conversation piece to kind of bring people together. They can look at it and be know that someone's a safe person, but also as just a little reminder every day. I hide them around in little libraries and things, so when you see it, you know that you have someone who's caring for you, and you belong. You have that little reminder to get you through the day. And they also connect to resources I have an Instagram and a Facebook at stick2, the number 2, mental health. And it's a great way I post breathing exercises, I post journaling prompts, and it's a great way for me to share my passion for mental health. And that's kind of where my project started before I heard of the scholarship.
Well, we'll be including that contact information as part of our show today, and so that people can contact you. Am I right? That'll be okay. And I understand, and in fact I remember, because I took a few of these myself at the event at Clarkston Family Farm, but you had a lot of them there when it started, but it seemed like you didn't have any at the end that were pretty popular. Did you get rid of a lot of them there?
Yeah, I got rid of a ton of them, and I think people just kind of see them and know they have either family at home that would want one. A lot of them brought them for their grandchildren or their kids, and especially little ones like these that they're kind of less obvious in your face, but you could like use that as a bookmark, and they have textures, so these were a big hit too.
Yeah, I forgot to wear my little pink bracelets that I got some while ago for breast cancer awareness, but they really work, you know, and people would ask about it. And it reminded me that it was time to take a glass of water because I keep getting dehydrated. And so these things, I think, simple in a way, but subtly very effective. Now, did you, Aiden, get involved in other projects before? Were there other things you were doing with the, what was it called, the youth committee of the council?
Oh, Youth Advisory Council?
Yeah.
Yeah, so actually I did a lot of projects with them. So before that we had a yard raking program where we would rake the yards of seniors. And then actually this year I planned another project where I got members to go to a local nursing home and we just paid a visit, gave company.
Really?
In the end, we have a lot of members. They all have their own projects, plan their own things. And actually, Kate is also in YSC, and she's been very active as well. And the chapter is rapidly expanding. We have about 11 members right now, trying to grow it, turn it into something great. And the whole aim of the club is to help the Lake Orion community as a whole. So we're very involved, doing more things every year.
Yeah. Well, Kate, did all of this come about spontaneously with you, or is this kind of the nature of your family or your friends, or what?
I don't know. I think I've always been like involved. My mom's always dragged me to PTO events that I help out with. She's always been involved with like when the homeless shelter would come to our church. So I think things like this and being taught how to be selfless and to care for other people is just kind of in my bones. It's always just, I can't understand another way of not wanting to help people, to see all, especially with mental health, seeing all my friends struggling, having my own personal struggles, and not wanting to bring change is like, it's a crazy idea to me. So it's always been something I've loved. I've been in many different mental health awareness clubs too. So at school, I'm a part of Sources of Strength and a part of Youth Action Board that talk about just mental health and having things to rely on before you get to crisis, but also different hotlines for people who are in crisis and really need that help.
Now, are you going to carry that same, not just spirit, but focused interest forward and tell us where you're going to be going to school? I think I know, but I want to be sure.
Yeah, so I'm going to U of M in the fall for psychology, specifically a lot of the mental health related and the clinical psychology, because I want to go into school psychology or therapy that just like focuses especially on teens and how there's so much stigma about talking about mental health, but really teens are one of the biggest groups that need help for their mental health. It's just so important to me that I want to kind of reform the system that makes it so hard to access mental health care. I want to make it so people know that they are deserving of help, that they have someone who can help them, that they are loved, and that they're not a burden to ask for help.
Excellent. Well, Aiden, you're going into something a little bit different, but I don't imagine you're going to abandon the kind of interests that you've had and activities of helping other people, but you're going to state, am I correct?
I am.
And what are you going to study?
So I'm studying biochemistry/biotechnology on a pre-medical path.
Pre-med?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And then in addition to that, I'll be a professorial assistant. So they're essentially an undergraduate researcher.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's pretty, you got it pretty well plotted out already, right?
Hopefully.
Now, did you guys look at other schools? Kate, did you? Or was that something you always knew you were going to go to Michigan and study psychology?
I honestly when I grew up, I never had an opinion of Michigan versus Michigan State. I would like, every time everyone was having this whole argument, I was like, I don't know, I don't care. I think I had one year where it was Michigan versus Michigan State Day, and I was like, I'm choosing peace, and I wore half Michigan State colors.
Good for you.
Because I was also thinking of Michigan State, but I just kind of fell in love with U of M, the culture they have, also like, you run around Ann Arbor and there's stickers everywhere,
Yeah.
and that was one of those things where I'm like, I know I'm with my people. They
Well,
love
good for
stickers.
You kind of knew, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I remember my first visit to Ann Arbor was one of my brothers came home from the service and was going to go to school there and did in mechanical engineering. But I was just much younger than you guys and went up there and spent a couple weeks. The house that they were in is still there. Every time I go to Ann Arbor, I drive by it just to see. But yeah, there's a certain feeling that you get. But also, I have a lot of good association about Michigan State. And so you've gone up and scouted it out. And do you know where you're going to live at State?
I do, so I'll be living in a residential college called Lyman Briggs.
Oh, yeah.
And it's STEM focused, science based. And the reason I chose that is I just think would really help me with becoming a doctor. Just being around people with the same interests, receiving a lot of support. So I think it'll be an amazing opportunity for me.
Yeah, I think you'll fit right in with that. Yeah, that's great. Where are you going to live on campus?
I'm not sure yet because they're doing self-selection for the first time at U of M, so fingers crossed that goes well because I kind of want to be near the hub of campus, but next week I'll be figuring out where I'm rooming.
Yeah, so you're what, June, July, August, 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
When does it start? Is it first week of September or earlier?
I think
School.
Yeah, it starts late August.
Late
I think
August,
like the
yeah.
week of somewhere around the 26th I move in. So
Now, are there friends of yours, the same class that you know, are they going? What about you, Aiden? Do you have classmates that are also going to State?
Oh yeah, so actually about 40% of Lake Orion's graduating class is going there. So I'm going to know a ton of people. And actually in my same college, Lyman Briggs, there's like 3-4 people from my high school, so I am not going to be lonely.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people.
Yeah, that's a interesting way to look at it too, because I remember I went to a school that's now called Troy, and we were, to kind of date me, I will just say, we were the first class that went through 4 years at Troy High, and yet we're still in touch, many of us that are still getting around. And not everybody went to college or to vocational school. And the situation changed remarkably. And you probably have friends that are not going to go to college, Kate, but are going to go to pursue further education elsewhere. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They get into cooking or culinary or other skills that are much in need in society. College isn't actually right for everybody at the same time. Do they take what I keep hearing from my grandkids, gap year? You know what a gap year is?
yeah, I don't know too many people taking a gap year, but I've definitely heard of people taking gap years just to kind of figure out they can go around and visit colleges and figure out if they like any of them. Sometimes I know people who have like traveled the world in their gap year and like just try to figure out more of what they care about before either choosing to go to college or the workforce.
Yeah. Aiden, what about you?
Me, so I really don't know anybody who's taking a gap year, but I do know some students who aren't going to college. Like someone in my neighborhood, I know he's going to trade school. And then some other people going into the military. We actually have a student accepted into the military academy, so that would be amazing for him. So not everybody at our high school is taking the traditional path, but they'll still be successful in the end.
What about travel? Given all the stuff you're doing with schoolwork and service projects and other things, have you had an opportunity to get out beyond the bounds of our beautiful state of Michigan and see anything else? Have you traveled any, Kate?
I recently, with choir, that's been my big travel opportunity. I went to Europe a while ago. And
You
it was,
did?
Yeah, it was amazing to see. It was right when what's the name of it? It was right when one of the London airports like caught on
Heathrow?
fire. Yeah, Heathrow caught on fire.
Right.
So we had to turn around mid-air
Oh my
and go
gosh.
from the Toronto airport back to the Toronto airport.
Oh my
so we were
goodness.
stuck in Toronto for some days.
Yeah.
But it was wonderful to see how similar Canada is,
Yeah.
but like how different it is at the same time. There's so many like, you could drive around and you feel like you're in the Midwest, but also like their culture and so much of like the way they talk, the way they like, their manners are so different. So
Very helpful. I went to, or had the same thing happen to me. Between my junior and senior year, was going to go to Europe. I had a brother at an Air Force base in Spain, so I was going to go to London and to Paris and then down to Spain. And the airplane blew an engine, and we ended up landing in Iceland. So that was, and we had to wait for another airplane to be brought in so we could continue our journey. What about you? Have you been out of Michigan?
Me? I have. So I've been to Canada as well. And it was really cool. I was in Toronto. I got to see a Blue Jays game. And that was really exciting to watch. I mean, Rogers Stadium's incredible. Sadly, they had to play the Oakland A's that day. And they're not the best team, so it was so nice to see them. Guerrero, if you
Was
know
it
who he
at the
is.
Blue Jay Stadium?
What?
The game was at
It
where
was
Toronto Blue
Rogers
Jays play?
Stadium.
That was where Ernie
Incredible.
Harwell wrapped up his baseball announcing career. That was legendary in Michigan and in the country, really. And my wife and I went to the game. We were friends of Ernie and Lulu, and so that was the one time I've been in that park. But it's a nice experience. Did you go by train or drive?
Oh, so we went by train, and it was
Yeah,
very
that's what-
nice.
yeah,
They served
it's
us
a good
good
way to
food.
go.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Very relaxing.
Well, as Kate knows, and traveling around Europe, the train is definitely the preferred mode for a lot of people. Another way to do it is by bicycle, I guess, but I'm not up for that. But it's nice to know that the opportunities that you guys have, and then also the access to information. Back in the day, it was libraries and printed books, but now you have access to virtually unlimited knowledge through computer. Are you pretty savvy with computer use? I imagine you are. You couldn't probably get through school nowadays without it, huh? Yeah. Did you do any research for your projects online? Was that helpful, or did you just, Aiden, did you come up with this all by yourself, or did you do research to see if others had done similar things to what you were proposing?
Yeah, so it was definitely a group effort with the other members of YC.
Yeah.
We all pitched into our own research, and I actually focused more on the financial side of it. So initially I was in the financial committee, and I just researched the cost of how much everything would be. And my whole purpose was to make it as cost effective as possible and very affordable. And I was looking at the charities, what their missions were, and then if our festival could support that, what they would need if we could afford it. So it's making it accessible to our community and to the charities as well.
Excellent. What about you?
Yeah, I think the big thing is a lot of the stickers I order online. So that's a big thing of like looking through stickers that I feel like people can truly connect with. And then another one of the big things of online is that I do a lot of research of like different breathing techniques on there. I've already learned so much throughout my involvement in different clubs and stuff about different techniques, but every once in a while I'm like, is this technique actually helpful? Like how could, like the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique, if you've heard of it, like 5 things, I even have a sticker for it. 5 things you see, 5 things you feel, 3 things you hear, 2 things you smell, and 1 thing you taste is kind of something that it helps you ground back into your senses and notice what you're going through. So it's just one of those things that I've seen online, and it's like a great tool that I want to be able to share with other people. So I think the main reason for my connection to online is that I've been able to learn so many different things about mental health. I will learn about different disorders or different mental health problems that I want to educate people about too.
Right. Well, when you and I talked long ago, and I told you my wife had been involved in Common Ground and had run the crisis line and the suicide prevention line. And that kind of a program did not exist, say, 30 years ago. There wasn't anything. But I knew from her the number of encounters that she had had and people she'd been able to help. And it's a marvelous resource, to have. And I'm glad that you're doing it. So I want to be sure that people are aware that you're inviting them to get in touch with you at the site that we're going to have running online here. Aiden, I'm going to want to ask you to get back to me as your year progresses, so we can report some. We get calls from our viewers asking, hey, those people that you had on such and such. So I like to be able to tell them how things are going. So will you do that for me?
Of course.
Okay. If you've got any more to share that I haven't touched on, now's the time. Did we cover everything that was important to you?
There's one thing I would like to say, and that is there are many local charities in the Lake Orion, Oxford, Clarkson area, and I think they're absolutely wonderful to volunteer at. And a few of the ones I find very interesting specifically are Haven. It's a homeless shelter in Pontiac.
Right.
And then Oxford Pregnancy Center, and Best Buddy Pet Rescue, Trinity Health. So if I had the opportunity again, I'll make sure to volunteer at those places because they do amazing things for this community.
Good advice. Well, thank you for that, and thanks for coming in and sitting with me, and I'm sure that people will enjoy and learn from this conversation. And for our viewers, I'm looking forward to seeing you the next time for another conversation with Bill.